everyone, and welcome back to my, well, Cheap Car Challenge vehicle. We're back inside the Lexus that a few weeks ago, 3-4 weeks ago now, I bought for just £900. And I'm happy to report it has not broken down yet. No, we are still going absolutely fine. I've come across a few smallish niggles. In fact, I've turned the heating up so much it's now starting to get very, very warm in here. Let's turn that down. Heating is good, I can confirm. Christ, that got very warm very quickly. Yes, so what have I found having driven this car for a good few hundred miles now? Well, first of all, and I didn't know this when I bought it, it's got a slow puncher on the front left-hand corner. Exactly the same front left corner I had on the RX-8 had a similar, although admittedly the RX-8 was a lot slower. This does have a slight slow puncher on it, which is, I say, it's a little bit of a pain. I want to change the wheels. The wheels are hideous. So they were always going to go. The tyres are not in the best. They're okay at the moment. They're not in the best condition. They're fairly cheap tyres. So new wheels, new tyres are going to be needed. I can live with the slight, just got to pump up the tyre every few days or every time you go to use it and so on. It'll hold for the day where you need to drive it, but yeah, it's a little convenient. I did know that when I bought it. It was something I was, knew I was going to have to be dealing with, but it's still perfectly running and so on. One small niggle that is a little bit of a pain, up here somewhere, there is a little bit of the seal, ever so slightly on the outside, a tiny little bit of like kind of, I think like a plastic seal or whatever, is snapped off. Now, it's watertight. Hell, I took this through a car wash and they sprayed the thing with like a power washer and it didn't go through. However, there is quite an irritating whistle that goes on about, well, that's 60 miles an hour plus. Most of the time driving, certainly around where I live, you're on country roads, you're not going to be able to, it's not going to be effective, but when you sit on the motorway for a long period of time, it is a little bit of a pain. Should be an easy enough fix. Hell, I can probably bodge something on there to hold it by for a bit. So, yeah, it's a little bit inconvenient to say the least. However, I can live with that. It's certainly not something that you would have noticed on a test drive or whatever. I bought this car, it was in a city, so yeah, I wouldn't have got it fast enough to notice that. Again, easy enough to fix in something that I can, yeah, certainly be living with. The other thing that is a bit of a faff is the central locking place funny buggers. So it unlocks fine, although it didn't when I went to film this. 90% of the time it unlocks is absolutely okay. You'll press the button and unlock all the doors. Now, to lock it, we have to play silly buggers with it. So if we lock it from the button on the key, it locks the back doors and doesn't lock the front doors. If we try and lock the driver door with the actual key, it would lock the driver door and the two back doors and leave the passenger door unlocked, and then you have to go around and lock the passenger door manually. I think we've figured out, to get it to lock, you have to press the lock button and then you lock the driver's side door, and then everything should be locked. In theory. We don't. That's the current working theory. That is the current working theory. That's the best way to get it to do something. Again, I mean, it's a minor little niggle. It might be a straightforward fix. All of the locks work. Like, when you press the right combination of bits and it will all lock. It might be something that I go at fixing at some point. Because, yeah, it is just a minor inconvenience that we are working with here. Now, I'm going up to a bridge. I'm wondering whether we are going to be able to have some bridge fun, possibly, here. I don't know what the wind noise is going to be like. I might regret this massively here. Is there anybody around? It doesn't look like it. Okay, we'll just have a little bit of bridge fun, shall we? I didn't think about that going this way, but we'll have some bridge fun with the Lexus. It does sound good, and it is a good, fun car. It's a fun car to drive, I have to say. My girlfriend's insured on this one. She's nicked it a couple of times. When I was looking at budget cars, she was wanting me to get a small car, mainly to fit around our house and fit on the driveway and fit out the front of the house. She was wanting me to get a small car. I wasn't necessarily so convinced about the thought of a giant Lexus, Mondeo, Saab, Skoda, and so on and so forth. She really likes the Lexus, to the point where she's threatening to nick the Lexus. So I think I did all right with that one. Yeah, I mean, as far as driving goes in this, as I said before, it's a big, heavy car, this one, and you feel it. It isn't a lightweight vehicle. 0 to 60 is not the fastest in this. It makes a glorious sound while doing it, but I've not got my. There we go. sorted out the window. Down here I was starting to get, like, you can sort of calm the whistle noise depending on where you put the window as well. It's like these little things that you get used to, that you learn with any car, let's face it, any old car. I mean, this is 19 years old. There's going to be little things that you need to tweak. One of the common questions I got when I did the reveal video on this car, I meant to talk about mileage and so on, I forgot to during that video. However, people want to know how many miles it's done. It has, in fact, as of right now, it's at 150,015. It's just got over the 150,000 mark, which for a car like this is nothing, really. And I'm sure it'll do many more in my ownership. Yeah, these can go on for a very, very long time. It's, not unusual amounts to see on these. Hell, a lot of the newer cars I was looking at had done considerably more miles, so it's not too bad. Service history is also very good, which is part of the reason why I was as interested in this particular one as I was. Up until 100,000, it was all main Lexus dealers, which is quite impressive. After 100, I think about 105,000 gets a little bit spotty. Certainly the previous owner said he serviced it himself, and I would tend to believe him. There's a brand shiny new alternator on it that came with tubs of oil he'd used, or what was left of oil that he'd used, the oil changes and so on. I would generally believe, but this is a really bad road, and I'm glad I'm in this car. I wouldn't be able to go down here at 60 in the Legnum. Apparently the Vauxhall doesn't want to do 60 down here, but there we go. Yeah, I would tend to believe certainly the previous owner. The owner before him is the one that painted the wheels black, and a silly owner apparently, but on the whole it's actually been very well looked after. I can actually see on the engine itself there is a sticker saying the belts were changed at 95,000 miles, which again, it's not too bad, and there's certainly a big ream of service history of all various bits. The brakes have been changed a lot on this. I imagine this does go through brakes, being such a big, heavy car. And yeah, it is not light when you come to these corners. You can't throw it around like a little sports car. It has got surprising amount of grip for such a big vehicle. Handles better in some ways than I was expecting. Wafting was a word that was used to describe it, and yeah, you waft around in the Lexus pretty much. But it's fun, and it's different to sort of the previous cars that I have owned. Another thing people have asked me, would I think about doing a manual swap? It would be probably very difficult, but would I think about it? Do I miss not having a manual gearbox? Do I wish I'd gone for something that did? Well, certainly these Lexuses, that's a horrible bump there as well. I hit the nose of the Legnum on that before. Certainly these Lexuses never came with an option for a manual. Do I miss it? To an extent. Yeah, I miss it a little bit. However, I will say the gearbox in this isn't too bad, especially having that sport mode. Basically, it makes it rev further before changing up and change down a little bit more aggressively. And, well, for most of the country roads you're going to come across, that's more than fun enough. That's more than fun enough to be messing around with. So, yeah, I can live with it. I can live with it. And when you're sat on the motorway, you can stick the cruise control on and just let it do its thing. Actually left it in power mode, which is easy to do. I say easy to do. Yeah, to be fair, I don't tend to drive it on power mode all that much because, well, fuel economy, I'll be honest. Now, I haven't done calculations. I probably will at some point. I don't know when. Probably when I'm going to do a much longer journey. I will do some calculations and properly measure how bad the mile a gallon is, but it's not good, I'm going to tell you that much. It costs around where I live in England about £70 to fill the fuel tank. I think this has got about a 60 litre fuel tank, maybe slightly bigger. It costs around 70 quid to fill it, and it gets through it alarmingly fast. And it's probably one of the reasons why this car was fairly cheap to buy in the first place, because it is not an economical car so much to run. Very comfy, but not very economical. So, you know, I knew that when I got it, and I can live with that because I'm only going to be driving it for certain things almost. On the subject of sort of things wrong with the car, the radio I mentioned before, the display doesn't work on it, basically. However, the previous owner did include with this car a bunch of spare bits. Apparently when he bought it, it came with a sat-nav unit. The previous guy he bought it off said it worked, but there was no way to prove it, and he never got around to trying to fit it in. So I have a sat-nav unit for this that may or may not work. I think it also actually has a stereo unit as well that the display might work on. We've managed to turn we're messing around with the radio, we managed to turn it on the CD, and we now can't seem to get it back to the radio because you can't read anything that's going on in it. It's a bit of a pain, but I can pretty much be living with that one. So yeah, currently I've not had too much in the way of issues with the £900 Lexus, aside from it just being quite a thirsty car. It has, I've got to try and get a second, I've got to concentrate on the road briefly. Yeah, I'm really enjoying it. It's a little bit of a, I say it's quite a bit different a car to ones I've had previously. It's very comfortable. It surprises people, certainly with the noise surprises people. It does surprise with the speed and so on that it can do. As I said, 60 it's not great. After that, it is rapid. It just doesn't really stop. That's terrible what's left of a mini roundabout, but there we go. Well, we have come to a town. I think that is going to have to be it for this video. I will keep you guys posted on all the goings on with the Lexus. There will be some new wheels. We'll finally get rid of the horrendous originals. I'll have a play around, see if I can get sat nav working, and yeah, we will see where it goes from there. I'm sure there'll be some journeys, some adventures to be done, preferably when it's less freezing cold around the place. That way, at least the exciting stuff goes on outside where it's less freezing cold around the place. So yeah, hopefully over the summer this will be going for some adventures. That though is going to be it from me. Thank you all very much for watching, and until next time, goodbye.